my name is Layla 7 and this is my presentation on Mime. First of all, shall we start the history of Mime? From the beginning of mankind, there was evidence to show that the form of communication used between Neanderthals and cavemen was essentially mime, because there was no speech, it was not developed, so the only way they could communicate to each other was through gestures and movements and noises. A man would stand, usually, in his village or area and portray stories about creation, life, birth and death, because it was the things they knew of around them. And they did this just to celebrate the things that happened during life. It could also be said that mime was used, is used still in areas like that today, such as tribes like the Aborigines and Native Americans. They do not speak the same languages as us. They do have their own languages, but in some areas, and more so in the past, they didn't have speech, so they would communicate through gestures as well. And mime was very popular in France, and it still is. And it essentially went to France after the Greek era, where it was mainly used in Greece with masks, and the French took it and decided to use the paint and the colours, the black and whites and reds. Picture of the cave? The first is Marcel. He's born Marcel Mandel. He's a very famous French mime and actor, and he's most known for his character Vic the Clown, which he created. Some kind of life story. During World War II, as his family was Jewish, they went into hiding. His father was taken to Auschwitz and killed. Fun fact. And so, at the age of 5, his mother took him to see a Charlie Chaplin film, and that started his love for mime. And his first technical performance, not the first professional performance, was to children in a van that they took them across the border of France to Switzerland during the French Revolution. And then once he had decided to go into do acting and mime, he studied at the Charles Dullin's School of Dramatic Arts in Paris, and he was taught by Etienne Decroix, another famous mime. Marceau went on to join Jean-Louis Barrault's company and performed as Harlequin in a pantomime called Baptiste, which is based on a character Barrault has played himself. Then he made his own mime drama called Praxitella and the Golden Fish. He performed this at the Bernadette Theatre the same year as he did the Baptiste, because Barrault told him to do his own mime because he was very talented. In 1947 he did create Vic the Clown, and it was first performed in the Theatre des Pochettes, which means the pocket theatre. It's a very small, quite dark theatre actually. When you think of Marcel, Vic the Clown is a very distinctive character, because he wears a striped t-shirt and then the white overalls and white trousers, and he has a torn and battered hat, and Marceau has said that the hat represents life's fragility, which also I think stems from the fact that his father was killed during the war, which it is fragile life, and that's why the hat is torn and battered. The second is Jean-Louis Barrault. Jean-Louis Barrault is said to be a 20th century icon in French film and theatre. He is most well known for his role in a Marcel Carné's French film Les Enfants du Paradis, which in English means the infants in paradise, children in paradise. And he played a character called Jean-Gaspard Devereux, which is also named after another mime. And he went on to study with Charles Dullin as well, in a troupe from 1933 to 1935. Dullin taught him the art of pantomime and told him about pantomime and mime. Barrow went on to create a mime drama, pantomime, based on a novel called As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. And when he was 25, he met and studied with Etienne de Creux as well. And de Creux also played Barot's father in the Children of Paradise film. And then in 1946, he and his wife Madeleine Renaud, she's another French actress, created a theatre group, and the government then supported it in the late 50s, and they, because of that, they then moved to a bigger theatre and wanted to teach people about mime, because the younger generation weren't really interested in it as much as it was, although it was quite a long time ago. And the troupe really did prosper during the new theatre. And because of his great theatrical efforts, he was, the French had credited him as the person who gave French theatre a new life, and especially mime, because after World War II, because he was teaching mime, and it did change after he had came about. However, in 1968, the student protests in Paris came about, and he was a setback in his work because there were no students coming. But he did allow students to protest and release their anger in his theatres, which the government did not like, and they took back his funding, took back his theatre, and he had nothing left. But then him and his wife made a new theatre called Theatre des Rue Pond, and he worked there until 2 years before he died in 1993, but stayed there till 1993. I do have a clip of both of them, but I won't play all of them because they are quite...
Marcel Marceau will now present his romantic
and in that performance, specifically, he does use highly exaggerated movements and the costumes usually. This one isn't actually a part of the clown kind of, because he has a hat and the red flower, which is the statement that he uses. He does use comedy to his advantage though, because he is able to use facial expressions and gestures a lot more, which is different to my other one, Barrow, who takes a different kind of take on mime. As well as later on he uses music, because it's called the tango dancer, and that he uses the music and the timing and stopping and starting it really well to play his mime. This one is from the film which Barrow starred in. It's quite different to most of them. The costume is quite different to most of mine as well. The actual mime section.
Qu'est-ce que... Moi, je suis témoin. Qu'est-ce que vous avez vu? Tout. J'ai tout dit.
it is different from Marcel because he doesn't really have much face paint on apart from just the white face. He's wearing all white, and the background actually in the film is mostly white as well. So there isn't the kind of black and white contrast as such. And this is also from a film, which Marcel didn't do as much, I guess. His stage performances, I think, are personally better than his film performances. And also, just before he does perform that mime, his face is emotionless. And then as soon as he switched to the mime, it becomes very elaborate, which I think is good. I'm not going to read all of this, but just some things that in French mime, especially in theatre, a lot of the people that people are talking about, they all did work together and they all had connections with, like, Charles Dullin and Decroix and the films and such as well, which are in Paradise as well. And I did come up with some questions that I would ask the characters in the two clips that I showed. For example, I'd ask Barreau why he wears the wig, because his character is male, but his character does wear a long blonde wig, and Barreau doesn't have blonde hair, he has brown short hair, which I think is different, but I guess that's kind of the director's perspective, not his own. And with Marceau, kind of different to the exaggerated comedy, I'd ask why he personally would choose to have a broken and torn hat rather than a nice new hat. That's it, yeah.